And this massive realization, I was like, oh my God, every person, men as well, every person needs to learn how to dress their body, because otherwise it's just a spray and pray. We spray and we pay all this money and we buy all this stuff, buy all these items, and they don't go together and they don't look good on us. They're noise. They're not meant for us.
Welcome to Midlife Unraveled, the podcast that takes you on a journey through the twists and turns of midlife. I'm your host, Anita Gilbert, and I've transitioned from the corporate world of investment banking to become the proud owner of a yoga and Pilates studio. Together, we're going to navigate the exhilarating roller coaster that is midlife. Each episode, we dive deep with a seasoned expert to rediscover and redefine how to live our best during this life-changing period. Join us every Tuesday for new episodes, brimming with wisdom, insights, inspiration, and a laugh along the way. So strap in, because Midlife Unraveled is about to redefine the way you embrace midlife. Subscribe today and take this journey with us. Looking stylish always seems to come easily to some people, and Kim Crowley is a great example of that. So it was fantastic to really delve in and learn a few tips and tricks from her. I think you'll really enjoy these ones. Kim, welcome to Midlife Unraveled.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. Now, you've been a women's wear designer both in Sydney and in London. You've designed for people like Joseph, H&M, Marks and Spencer's, David Lawrence. That is such an incredible list of names. And you've also been a stylist both in Dubai and in Sydney. So you really have a huge amount of experience both designing for women and dressing women. So seeing both sides of the coin. Absolutely. So it's great to chat with you today. You have a wealth of experience and excited to share that with everybody. Let's start by chatting about what is happening with midlife style. I think I have been through this, and I think many women find themselves suddenly in midlife. Your body shape is a little bit different. What you put on doesn't quite look right. You don't want to be dressing as your teenage daughter. You don't want to be dressing as your mother. And it's very, very hard to find that middle ground of what looks good. Yeah. How do I want to present myself? And it's really tough because often, we're dealing with a different body shape as well. And how do we manage all those things?
I think that is absolutely so true. And that's exactly the example I get from so many clients. I don't want to be my teenage daughter, but I don't want to be my mum. What am I meant to look like? Because I think nowadays, there's so many versions of what a kind of midlife woman looks like. When we look at celebrities, when we look at popular culture, all those kind of things, that it's quite diverse. And I think the reason when we kind of start to hit midlife and we start to question things is because obviously, we change as people, we evolve. So in terms of our needs, our lifestyle, that evolves. Number two, our body does change. Absolutely. We thicken up through the waist. Our body does change. I know a lot of, perimenopause, menopausal women go through more changes in their stomach, and they feel like they hold a lot of weight around their stomach. So our body changes. But the other thing is, I know we look inward with those two things, but there's external things like fashion changing, okay? Fashion changes and evolves. Fashion is set up to keep us wanting, keep us buying, keep us consuming, okay? So fashion changes, and she is a little mischievous, fashion, because what she does is makes things subtly feel wrong and certain things feel right to make you go and buy, okay? So as much as many of my clients go, I don't really do fashion. I'm like, well, you do take part in fashion because you clothe yourself and you choose that dress over that. So we all take part in fashion, whether we like it or not. But you don't have to be a fashionista to really realize what's going on in terms of the evolution of fashion. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so what I mean by that is, lots of people I'm dealing with at the moment, a lot of my clients are like, I know skinny jeans aren't cool anymore. What's my new jean? So they don't feel right anymore. No one's really wearing them. But what's the new one, right? Because until we see the new version of what that's looking like and we put it on our body, it's all a bit grey area. We can't put a pin in it. We don't know what it looks like, right? So fashion is also evolving. So whilst we're evolving and our changes our lifestyle, fashion is too. So, and then we throw on COVID as well. So it's like 4 things going on at once, right? Which is a lot. It's a lot. So what's happening is a lot of with my clients, we are looking backwards in our wardrobe. So we open our wardrobe, we're like, it's not really serving us, but I feel like I feel like I should want to put this on, this shorter, more fitted corporate dress, for example. But it no longer looks good on me, no longer feels good. It's really tight. It's not how I want to wear my clothes. Well, a lot of that is fashion because we're not really wearing that corporate style so much anymore. We're wearing slightly looser styles, slightly longer styles. So we've got to try and stop going backwards and be really happy to go forwards. Okay. It's just a little bit scary because we don't know what that forward version of us, that version next week or tomorrow of us can always look like. And that's what I workshop so much with my clients because obviously it differs every client. Yeah. But there is definitely some streams of what I hear a lot that runs through all of us as we're kind of evolving forward. But I think a lot of us just think it's about us and our bodies and don't really realize that there's external factors going on.
Yeah. And I think it's about finding your style. A lot
Absolutely.
more if we can think of it possibly like that rather than thinking of it as the latest fashion, because we try and think, well, I don't want to be I don't want to be bending into the latest fashions every time, but it is finding perhaps that style that works for you.
Absolutely.
But that's it's so hard to find.
It
And you
is.
see other women who have got it nailed and you think, fantastic, it was working for them, but oh my gosh, where do I start?
Exactly. And learning to be a bit playful and putting aside some time to play with your wardrobe, play with your style. If things you don't think are really working for you anymore, why aren't they? It might be, that a lot of my clients, and I hear this a lot, I don't want to wear short things anymore. I'm not wearing minis. I'm not wearing short. Okay, cool. No problem. And then my client earlier said exactly that to me. And then I put her in this fab mini skirt that was in her wardrobe. It's really smart denim skirt. It was beautiful. And she looked amazing. So we're not going to wear that denim skirt the way we used to, because we're always going backwards to the old visual of how we used to look, how we used to dress.
Yeah.
If we actually take that mini skirt in isolation, it was a beautiful, quite structured denim skirt, country road, and moving it forward, we're not going to wear it with something so strappy and little anymore, maybe not tight, but we're going to put it on with something maybe a little bit looser, like a denim, like a linen shirt. And we roll up the sleeves and we've undone the buttons and it's all very loose. So we're wearing a little bit more coverage on top if we're wearing something smaller on the bottom. Generally, that's a really nice balance. And that's what we want to play with. A lot of the time we open our wardrobe, mini skirts, no, and we put them in the no box. And I come along and go, what if we did this with it? And we put something smaller with something, something with less fabric, with something with a bit more fabric. And then we put a flat shoe on rather than how you associate a mini skirt with heels. How about that new version? And they're like, oh, I like me in this. Yeah, what else can we do with it? Yeah, great.
And I have a completely different image in my head of somebody looking fantastic in that mini skirt and with the larger blouse or shirt, with a pair of trainers or ballet flat. Because I think what we put on, it is so linked to our confidence, and that's how we present ourselves to the world. And I feel like we are at a time in midlife when there's so many things going on, and it's possibly not a time where women are feeling massively confident in themselves. And that can be just, then looking at your wardrobe and thinking, I don't know what to wear. I've got nothing to wear. Nothing really fits me properly. That's a really tough time. And then I feel like especially since COVID, the temptation is then just to throw on that sweatshirt and jeans or go out in the activewear. And that's,
the worst thing you can do. But just touching on confidence there for a moment, it's really interesting because yes, I'm definitely hearing a lot of that from my clients. Absolutely. But also what I'm hearing is, you know what? I'm at an age now, I don't have to totter around on heels. I'm done with heels. I don't need to try anymore. I'm going to go and buy that beautiful blazer that really makes me feel really good because I've got, a bit more income now than I used to have when I was 20. So there's also a freedom that's coming for a lot of women when they're reaching this kind of stage and they're knowing themselves a little bit more in terms of what they don't want.
Yeah.
And they're starting to pinpoint, actually, that beautiful dress is beautiful and I really enjoy wearing it. I feel fabulous in it. So I'm going to go and buy it for myself. Whereas I wouldn't have before because I would have been worried about, this, that and the other and what so-and-so thought or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's really freeing. And I think we need to play in that space a little bit more. But what happens is sometimes we need someone to come in, like, a bit of a professional to come in and help us start to play and give us some guidelines. That's working for you because of A, B, and C. that's not working for you as much. You don't like yourself in that as much because of A and B.
Yeah.
So once we get some context and some language around it, so okay, so it's not my body, it's the garment. The garment's wrong for me. I don't have to keep blaming myself. Women are the worst for blaming their bodies.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
And I've heard women say that, when it all feels like it gets a little bit too hard and it's just like, oh, look, I just don't care anymore. And I feel like that. I feel so sad when I hear women say that,
Yes,
because
right.
you should always care, because it's not caring what other people think of what you're wearing. It's how you feel on the inside.
Exactly.
And we all know when we've put something on and we feel like we look good, we go out with a completely different mindset than if we go out in those, the trackies and sweatshirts and we don't care. That's what we present to the world. And if you are, if you're working, if you're, whatever it is that you do, you want to care. You do want to care about what you do.
Exactly. And you want to look like you care about yourself, and you want to look like you respect yourself, and you want to look like you've put some time and effort into yourself. So most of my clients say, make me look like I've made more effort, but not too much.
Yeah.
And I love that phrase, but I get what that means. But, it really is that language of what we're clothing ourselves in really represents how we're feeling about ourselves. And so, if it's a rubbish day and it's raining, I'll go and put on my sequin skirt. And I'll put on some boots with pearls on because I need lifting up. And so then someone comments, oh, I love your skirt. God, that's gorgeous. And then that lifts them up.
Yeah.
And then, oh, your boots, aren't they great? They've got little pearls. Oh, how glam are those? And don't you look like, And then we're all starting to, oh, but you look lovely too. And there's some camaraderie. There's some positivity happening. So
exactly.
I'm always a fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
In terms of when you start to feel a bit rubbish, because the worst thing you can do, especially if you've put on a little bit of weight, and it often is only a little bit of weight, but people think it's a lot, that they start to hide in their clothes. They start to wear black, charcoal, grey, oversized clothes that don't fit them. They're daggy, mumsy, and they're from, years and years ago, and they do absolutely nothing for that person. And there's now science around this theory of enclosed cognition, which basically means that if you put something on, the wearer takes on the symbolism of that coat. So they did it basically 10 years ago. There was some studies done with white coats, doctors' white coats.
Yeah.
And the wearers were actually saying how much more focused they felt. They enjoyed learning. They sat for longer. They were retaining more. Their concentration and their focus was better because they were taking on the symbolism of that white jacket.
Well, I suppose you only have to look at children. I remember my daughters, when they were young, used to dress up in their fairy and princess costumes, and they honestly thought that they were princess that day. They did, and in the same way we do it, like they took on that persona and they believed it. And good luck to anyone to tell them they weren't a princess.
Absolutely,
which
and
is
that's
gorgeous.
really
But it's part of, I feel like although okay, we're not going to walk around in princess dresses, but well, maybe you do. I don't know. She's own. But I feel like that ties so well into what you were saying, is that you do take on that persona, and perhaps it is a bit of, smartening up with a casual edge. One thing I have fallen into this myself, and I'm sure, when you don't know, you play it very, very safe. So how do we avoid looking frumpy or looking like our mothers, or what are some key tips that you could?
So it's quite funny because sometimes I have, like a couple of days ago in a fitting room, someone put something on and it was a beautiful teal colour, and they're like, oh, my Nana Lizzie did all that, or Auntie Lizzie. And I was like, is that a bad thing? But often there's associations. So that's really hard for individuals to, if I'm dressing someone, I don't know that until we put something on. But one person's frumpy might be another person's demure.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's, there is a kind of, there is a flexibility within how we measure, because it's only obviously one person's opinion of frumpy. But generally, frumpy for most people is something old and ill-fitting. Okay. So if we think it's a bit either kind of, it can be a bit matronly, so too much fabric. I have that so often where we're covered in so much fabric, like, oh my God, I feel like, I do feel frumpy, because we've forgotten how to show off our skin. And I think as we get older, a lot of our skin changes. I've certainly noticed a lot of my skin changing. So I'm modifying the way I'm wearing things. Back to that mini skirt example, I might not wear a mini skirt with something really, showy on the top, if you like, so much skin. But I will start to actually think about showing a bit more skin than maybe I would have thought, because it's that fake it till you make it. Once you actually start to show a bit of skin, actually, my arms aren't bad. And you know what? That cellulite, who cares? I'm a 40-something, 50-something woman who, I'm going to have a bit of cellulite. It's really not something I need to try and hide so much anymore. I think having some kind of, bit of realization, a bit freeing, and that's what a lot of my clients are saying to me. I've got a bigger tummy or I've got a bigger bust. I'm not going to hide it anymore. I'm like, yes, but let's learn how to flatter it. That's the difference.
Yeah, there is that accepting of your body, that, we all do get older, and, our arms aren't looking quite the same, and arms and shoulders aren't looking quite the same as they did when we were 25. And that's okay. We don't have to feel like because they don't look like they did when we were 25 that we have to somehow hide them.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing. We go from 0 to 100, right? We go from really skimpy to, oh my God, I need to cover everything. And it's like, actually you don't, because you're going to probably age yourself if you cover your body in too much fabric. There's, something about that youthful skin showing. There's something youthful about that. So maybe it's just your ankles and we turn up your pants just to show your ankle off. Maybe we just turn up your sleeve a little to show your forearm off, and a collarbone and décolletage. Those 3 areas and ankle are lovely parts of pretty much every single woman. So, if you're not feeling confident about your thighs, show off something else. Show off something that you're proud of.
Yeah.
And start to have a much more positive interaction with your body and with the way you clothe yourself. But this going from 0 to 100 and, saying, no, I'm not going to wear a miniskirt. No, I'm not ever going to show off any skin anymore. I think it's actually being detrimental to us as women.
Yeah. So do you think there's a point to looking at ourselves objectively and trying to at least pick out one positive feature that we are happy with, that I think is a starting point. If we look in the mirror going, oh my God, I look disgusting. And I think as women, we are so judgmental of ourselves and we're so critical. We see these images in the press of, even if they're women our same age, and we pull ourselves down, but actually looking at, or ask a girlfriend, ask a friend, saying, what is it, if you had to name one feature about me that you think is my best feature, what would you name? And it's actually getting some really honest, objective opinion. And because we don't necessarily think of it ourselves, but it's so interesting to see how other people will see us.
Absolutely. And that's such a great thing, because we sometimes do need to kind of outsource feeling good about ourselves.
Yeah.
And asking other people to tell us, oh, really? Do you really think that? And they'll probably list off 5 things.
Yeah. I remember seeing a woman on the street and she had the most amazing jacket on. And I remember thinking, oh, so shy. And I was like, oh, I can't say anything. And I was like, no, I'm going to tell her. So I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, I just wanted to let you know that I love your jacket. And she was like, oh my God, you've made my day. And she was like, it was so sweet. She's telling me all about where she bought it. And it was so sweet. I feel like she's like my new best friend. But, it was great for me because I found out where she got this great jacket. But
it made her feel
lovely.
Good.
I feel like we to compliment each other and to see those positives in each other is we lift each other up. Whether you know that person or not, whether it's your best friend and you say, hey, you look amazing in that skirt. It's like, let's try to pay each other compliments and take those compliments on board as something that somebody really means, and look at yourself a little bit more honestly, not critically, but honestly, and to have those positive thoughts and those positive opinions about, how we look in different clothes.
Exactly, because clothes have the power to really completely change how we feel about ourselves. They call it body shape. Often we are the shape that we put on of clothes. If you're going to put something straighter and squarer on, your torso will look shorter and straighter.
Yeah.
If we put more shapely clothes on that actually skim our body, we can see our body. It doesn't have to be clingy, but just starting to, put less big items of clothing on that are covering us up completely. We're missing the beauty in our bodies, and women's bodies are utterly beautiful.
Yeah.
I dress them all the time and they are beautiful.
Yeah.
But my female clients are very much, I like this bit, hate this bit, like this bit, hate this bit, hate this bit, and we'll dissect each part of our body, right? My male clients will
Sounds
literally,
awful, doesn't it?
they do all the
Yeah.
time. And my male clients will literally just look in the mirror, breathe in a little bit, give it a twirl and go, I'm good. And, I'm like, wow, you're a
Yeah.
similar age to me. And, a client I saw that morning, for example, and yet the way she thinks about her body to the way you do. I mean, we've been socialized completely differently as male and females. It's incredible. And I really want to empower women to stop, to allow themselves to stop doing it and allow
Yeah.
themselves to actually speak about something they do like about their body, because we haven't really been socialized to say that,
We
oh,
so
what?
haven't.
I like my arms and I'm happy and I've got good hair. And you know what? My legs are all right.
Yeah. And
But
it's not being big-headed, it's not
no,
being, and I think especially in the Australian culture, it's that tall poppy syndrome, don't don't rise above. It's awful, and it's not just us, it's everywhere. And we're the first to criticize ourselves, but it somehow feels wrong to point out something that we do like about ourselves. And
yeah,
I feel like gosh, if we've learned anything by these midlife years, it's to have a little bit of confidence and to speak up and say, hey, yeah,
absolutely.
I do. I think I've got grey shoulders. I'm gonna
Let's
I'm
show,
gonna
let's
wear
show.
that summer dress without the sleeves and,
Yeah.
show them off.
And it's really interesting actually, because, I've got some 60-year-old clients that are wearing one shoulder tops. In fact, she totally motivated me to go out and buy a one shoulder
Yeah.
top. I literally, the next day I went out because I was like, you look so good. And then, a mini skirt on I think it's 58, she looked amazing. So I'm like, a lot of these kind of rules that we put on ourselves. Oh no, I can't wear that. Oh no,
Yeah.
I can't wear that. It's like, yes, you can. We've just got to find your version. That's all it
Yeah.
is. You've got to find the way that you feel comfortable wearing, a bit less fabric or something a little bit more fitted, or just getting out of a loose, legging and a loose t-shirt, because that's the worst thing you could do for you. The reason being, if you put on a little bit of weight, you put on something a little bit bigger. Often we've been, especially through COVID, we've been online shopping. Pretty much all of that online shopping is either 1 or 2 sizes bigger because we've been worried we won't fit in it. So suddenly we've got, so many of my clients have got a wardrobe that's been topped up through COVID with really bad purchases because they're too big. But they're wearing them because we don't want to waste them.
Yeah.
So we're wearing clothes that's too big. We've put on a little bit of weight. So we think we should be wearing even bigger clothes. So we then buy even bigger clothes. So suddenly we've got really, really, really lots of fabric, lots of boxiness, lots of trapeze garments going on
Yeah.
that we're wearing and not enjoying. And we glance at ourselves in the mirror and we're like, oh God, I really am putting on weight. Because we're
Yeah.
seeing ourselves in looking like we're in a bigger body because we're in bigger clothes, unflattering bigger clothes.
Yeah.
Bigger clothes is one thing, unflattering shapes is another. When you put a bigger garment that's not meant for you and an unflattering shape on you, 2 things are wrong. It's really hard to make look right. So we start believing that mirror image.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. And so we start to hide even more. And we go down this slippery slope until one day we actually take a moment and actually look in the mirror. And we maybe ask a friend, what would you say is one of my best features?
Yeah.
And then hopefully we can start to turn. But I think a lot of people think that, oh no, I don't want big and baggy, so therefore I have to go really clingy with clothes. It's that 0 to 100 thing,
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah.
It's very binary, one or the other. And actually it's about silhouettes that skim your body, that kind of sit in the middle. They don't cling. I mean, this is clingy. This is small. I've got them on with big pants actually. But it doesn't have to be clingy. It can just skim your body.
Yeah.
And that's the ideal silhouette, because then we get to see your body without being clingy and, God, my bottom and my cellulite, my tummy and all the things.
Yeah. That's so true. So if we are looking at making a style change, maybe, you're sort of thinking, okay, fine, I'm sick of the clothes I used to wear. I'm looking for a new style, one that I can own, I can adopt, and this can be my kind of go-to dressing. Where do we start?
Really good question. We start by figuring out what is meant for us, figuring out our features and figuring out our body shape.
Yeah.
Do not make any style changes until you know who you are. And I don't mean what you like, your style might be a bit boho or minimalist or whatever the words are that a lot of my clients describe their style as. I wouldn't always do that, but a lot of them do. I've got other ways of describing it as well. But putting, those kind of labels on this, that's one thing. But really figuring out, right, what flatters my features? What, am I dramatic in my look? Should I have dramatic colour?
Yeah.
Am I softer and delicate? Do I need softer clothing? Not big sleeves. So it's learning and spending some time with figuring out what's right for us and what doesn't. Because once we start learning how to flatter our bodies and our colorings, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
But what fascinates me most, and when I was upskilling from a fashion designer to a personal stylist, I had this massive light bulb moment that I realized we actually never learn how to dress ourselves.
No,
as human beings. We never learn. And I'm like,
no.
Because I didn't know. I was designing and I was obviously in the fashion industry, worked for global companies. I was working for lots of different brands.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I had a short leg and a long body. And that's why I need fashion to make me look leggy, because I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
And this massive realization, I was like, oh my God, every person, men as well, every person needs to learn how to dress their body, because otherwise it's just a spray and pray. We spray and we pay all this money and we buy all this stuff, buy all these items, and they don't go together and they don't look good on us. They're noise. They're not meant for us.
Yeah. And your weight can change, but essentially your body structure is going to stay the same. Like I'm like you, I've got longer arms, shorter legs, and that's not going to change. It doesn't matter how much weight I put on or I lose, that will stay the same. So those features will stay the same.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. It's learning that, and it's something. There's something about an acceptance of that that's really empowering.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh, that's not meant for me. Oh, okay, right, bye. I can give it to a friend or give it to charity.
Gosh, that makes dressing so much easier, doesn't it?
It does,
Suddenly it's...
Yeah.
But I think there's another piece here too. I feel like in midlife, our lives are changing a lot. So maybe people are changing jobs, maybe they're no longer working, maybe they're starting something new. And I feel like the purpose of our clothing changes too. And I think since COVID, obviously, if you are in a corporate environment, that has changed dramatically as well. What's acceptable, what's not. Not for everybody, I think for most people. And I feel like there's that finding that purpose for clothing as well, that you may find that you're no longer working in a corporate environment and your wardrobe contains suits and jackets. So how to, obviously if you were very comfortable wearing those sort of things, how do you repurpose that? Is it a case of taking those blazers, wearing them with jeans, or how do we adapt what we're wearing to the function that our new lives hold?
Because that's such a great point, because one of the things most of my clients struggle with, male or female, is the loosening of dress codes, the relaxing of dress codes within their office. Or like you said, a lot of my clients are actually starting their own business, so they set their dress code. They're like, what should that look like? I actually don't know. But being able to have a more relaxed look, because that's pretty much what's happening. Everything is becoming more relaxed, less corporate. So a really easy way to do that is exactly like you said, wearing your blazer with a more relaxed pant. It might be a jean, or it might be a non-jean, but a bit more of a relaxed pant, not a stiff corporate dark pant, not a workwear pant, workwear fabric. But that's easier to do if your blazer isn't black. If your blazer is black, it's often still very formal. So if you're putting on a formal blazer in black with a formal shoe, and you've got a jean in between, it can still feel kind of heavy, kind of corporate, kind of going backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, that old version of corporate.
It's a bit jarring, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be, especially if we've got pale denim, and a lot of my clients are enjoying pale denim because it's quite on trend. We see it around. We have lots of choice, lots of shape, so they're buying into it. But that's why being able to play with other colours that aren't black, like almost like tinted blacks, think of them, one step down from blacks. It can still be dark, deep colours, your navies, your oxbloods, your mahoganies, deep burgundies, deep pine greens, all these kind of colours that are one step down from that, look instantly more relaxed because they haven't got that corporate feel about them.
Yeah.
And even changing that black shoe to a nude shoe, fresher, lighter, effortless. more relaxed. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And often we can do the blazer, jeans, and the sneaker thing, but they need to be a tennis sneaker, not a running sneaker. Yeah, not something we wear to the gym. It needs to be the kind of white or off-white, and we're getting a lot more off-white sneakers, which are even easier to wear, in that kind of tennis Stan Smith lace-up kind of style. That's so easy. So, creating smart casual is about putting something smart with something casual.
Yeah.
But it's
And
just
you mentioned color. You mentioned color there as well. And I feel like we all kind of gravitate to our favorite colors, but how do we know I know we can pay to go and have our colors professionally done, but what are a few kind of key things that we should look for in relation to our coloring to really work out if a color is actually right for us rather than it just being our favorite?
Yeah, because emotionally we might like the color, but the color might not like us.
Yeah, and maybe get your car in that color rather than wear
Exactly, cushions and a car and a
Great for a
wall.
car.
But one of the easiest things to do is there's two things. One is, does gold or silver suit you better? So gold is warm, silver is cool and cold. So that helps, right? So if you look ghastly in silver, then it probably means you are warm toned, warm undertoned. I look ghastly in silver because I am warm toned. I'm much more about gold. I used to try and wear silver because all my friends did.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, well, if you all look good in it, surely I will look good in it. And I put lots of silver on and I looked hideous.
So I'm the opposite. I'm the silver, not the gold.
Exactly. You're a bit cooler, you're lighter, you're fresher in your look. So, and that's what's quite good looking at the two of us, for people looking at this would see that you're a bit more pinky based.
Yeah.
You're lighter. I'm a bit more browny based and a bit more golden. So if gold or silver suits you, that's quite a giveaway. But if you're more undertone neutral, that's sometimes a little bit hard because there is cold, there is warm, but there's a lot of undertone neutral that sits on this colour wheel, the seasonal colour wheel. So if you think that gold and silver kind of suits you, then we can look at our veins and try and check. It's quite hard to check your vein on your own. So you need a few buddies around you.
Okay.
And you can all compare your veins. If you're blue veined, you're cool. And if you're green veined, you're warm because you have a blue vein, but you have the warmth, golden skin over it. So blue plus gold equals green.
That's fantastic. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So if you're a bit more green, then you are more golden. And if
I'm
you're
going to check my girlfriend's next time we catch up. We're going to have a vein comparison.
Have a vein party, a vein conversation. But you do need your friends around you to check this.
To compare, yeah.
And that's why, body shape, we don't really want to compare with other people. We are what we are, and we should own it and learn to flatter it. But with colour, it's really interesting, because if you went to dinner with maybe 4 friends and you're sat around, look at each other and say, is my skin quite different to yours? Is actually my skin colour quite different, quite similar? But actually our hair colour is very different. So, your friends, like, you've got a really light look, so you want lighter coloured clothes, lighter coloured fabrics, and lighter weight fabrics because you are light in your look.
Yeah.
So it's about really sitting and understanding yourself. And with the colour part, we want to be able to do it with friends.
Yeah.
With the body shape part, yes, ask a friend. But a lot of that is actually about looking in the mirror, face on, and really analysing yourself. What's my widest part? What's my smallest part? And then figuring out what kind of shape are we? Are we widest across the shoulder and taper in at the bottom? Or are we wider at the bottom around our bottom and hips and taper at the top, which is a pear?
Yeah.
So it's fascinating because a lot of the labels, particularly my female clients will put on themselves, are totally incorrect.
Yeah. That's so
because
true.
It's something from years ago, or a sister told them, or an uncle, or a flippant remark about, you've got a wide shoulder or whatever it is. They sit with that and they're like, I must be an inverted triangle because someone told me. I was like, have you looked at yourself in the mirror? I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go and have a look.
I had that with green. Somebody had told, and yellow as well. Somebody had told me that I can never wear green or yellow. I think when I was about 15, and that stuck with me.
Wow. And there's
years and years
so
and
many
years.
greens.
I know. There's so many, but I had that in my head, so I really avoided those 2 colors. Yellow, maybe there's certain truth to that one. But it's funny when we do talk about color. I remember when I was working in corporate years ago, I had a like a cardigan that I used to wear. It was cornflower blue, and it was always my go-to when if I'd had a super late night the night before, I was really tired. I remember putting that on, thinking, okay, I don't look so tired anymore. It was almost and people I worked with got to know it. It's like, oh, you had a big night. It's like, yeah,
My safety
the blue
blanket.
card is on.
But isn't it wonderful when you find something, oh, it works for me because it works
Yeah,
hard. And what we want from colour is to be able to put it on and feel our best. Our skin looks, looks brighter. Our hair looks glossier. Our eyes look stronger and brighter. We look like we're ready to work. We look like we're on it. We look like we're healthy. We look like we're confident. We look like we've got it all sorted.
yeah,
Really,
yeah.
we don't. We're just in our beautiful cornflower cardigan and feeling very sorry for ourselves after a big
For
night.
so many people.
But it's that fake it till you make it thing. It's
Yeah,
the things that you can rely on, those tools in your toolbox that build up your capsule wardrobe that you can rely on. And I tell you what, when your clothes work for you rather than against you, oh, it's a very different person that walks out that door every morning.
yeah, that's so true.
Because
So
we
if
are
you,
what we wear. We are what we wear. Everyone says we are what we
true,
eat. Absolutely. But we are what we wear because we get judged within 2 seconds now. Malcolm
yeah,
Gladwell's new book. Blink of an eye, he says. It used to be 7 seconds. It's now 2. Blink of an eye. So we get judged and we judge ourselves too. I have this
yeah.
imaginary mirror. I look in and, oh God, no, not good. Oh, I need my
Well,
hair.
yeah. Well, you see somebody and you've made an instant assessment about them,
Yeah.
and you've taken in what they're wearing, you've taken in their expression, everything else, and it's not being judgy, as my teenagers would say, but we do it. Everybody
We
does
do
it, and
it.
it's not
Yeah,
necessarily a
exactly.
negative thing, but
No,
it
no.
is
We
taking in. It's taking a picture of that person, and
absolutely.
making an
Ticking the
assessment.
box.
It's not necessarily positive or negative. It's just forming an opinion,
Absolutely.
which
And we
is
can it.
exactly, exactly. So, yeah, I think sort of to keep that in the back of your mind.
And whilst that part is important, the most important thing I always say to my clients is how you feel about yourself. That's the bit that's the
Yeah,
bit that I work hard to make better because yes, it's about how other people see you. If you're thinking about personal branding, etc.
yeah,
But I want you to like what you see in the mirror more. And I know I like me better when I've got the jewelry that's meant for me and the clothes that are meant for me.
yeah,
I feel so much better because I feel myself. And we all have style. Doesn't matter if we're going through midlife, we all have style. Because when you put something on and you're like, oh, no, this isn't me,
yeah,
it's because you have a certain personal style.
yeah. I find that now I've got to the point where I can actually be putting on a pair of trousers in a change room, and I haven't even got them on, and I just know they're going to work. It's like I just
Oh,
know
yeah,
that that's the right fit or the right
absolutely.
size,
Yeah,
or it just feels good.
yeah,
But
absolutely. And isn't it great?
yeah, and I think so many stores now are cluing into this sort of thing. So, to go to perhaps a stylist like yourself, or to go to even a department store, they have stylists there. Or I was in Country Road the other day, and there was a lady there, and she was so helpful. Like, and yes, their main aim is to try and sell you clothes, but they want to sell you the right clothes so you feel good and you come back and buy more.
Yeah,
So, to
absolutely.
take on the opinions of some of the shop staff that work there, or just ask them for an opinion, have a different assessment
Yeah,
of what you're putting on. So you don't have to believe what they say, but just to get a different opinion is sometimes really helpful.
yeah. Especially I find them really helpful, the shop staff, when I say, do you prefer this or this? And you give
Yeah,
them, do you know, because if you
yeah,
say you like this, they're going to go, well, yes, I need to make the sale. But if you say, do you prefer this or this? Much more honest response, I find. So that's a really good way to
that's great.
get a better answer, get a more accurate answer.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
you say, what would you wear with it? What's the designer design to go with this top? What should I try? And then you start to build up a bit of a rapport. And then, okay, well, what's the shoe? Because I don't have a shoe probably. And then they can start to help build it
Yeah.
from a good place, as opposed to, oh my God, I've got to make this sale. That's great on you. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very, very good suggestion. I feel like shoes are a whole different kettle of fish, because I feel like since COVID, we were in white trainers. So we just wore white trainers with everything. I think I'm still
Yeah,
wearing white trainers with everything.
I am so. They look great with everything. And the thing is, going back to that kind of frumpy conversation we were saying about how to not look frumpy, putting an edgy sneaker, or, it doesn't have to be edgy. I'm not talking, studs
Yeah.
all over it or anything, or a designer label. That's not it. But putting on something that's a little bit more cool and a bit kind of urban street on you, like the
Yeah.
footwear, instantly you're going to look more cool.
And it's super comfortable.
Absolutely. And you're always going to look more cool when you're comfortable. There is
That's so
absolutely
true.
no doubt. You're always going to look better, feel better, because it isn't just about looking. It's also, your posture. What's going to lift you up? What's going to make you, stand up tall and be proud of what you're wearing
So
and
true.
walk down the street rather than, oh God, I need to get my hair done. And
Yeah.
actually, that's another interesting point, because hair is another thing that needs evolving a lot of the time as we evolve and fashion evolves.
Yeah.
And if we've still been having the same haircut, or, maybe it's time just to go and have a chat with a couple of hairdressers. Don't do anything dramatic,
Yeah.
but, maybe Google what your face shape is and what you think might work. And
Yeah.
maybe take a few images of what you think could be good. And then go to a couple of hairdressers and ask their opinion and see. Because, we don't want to make decisions that aren't meant for us. It needs to all go back to what's going to flatter our face shape, our colorings, etc.
That's so true.
But having a little bit of opinions, because that can really do wonders for freshening you up. So, for a lot of people, maybe who, my clients who might have the wrong hair color, I'm like, before you buy any clothes, let's go and color correct your hair.
Yeah.
Then all of your palette is going to just be like amazing.
And that, especially at this age, I feel like there's a lot of women choosing to maybe just let their hair go grey, stop colouring their hair, or not to colour their hair, just let it naturally. And that changes your colouring immensely, I would think.
Massively.
When you
Massively.
previously maybe had very, very dark hair, you're letting it go grey, your whole colouring changes,
Absolutely.
which can affect the clothes that you wear, affect the makeup that you wear, the jewelry that you wear. So it gets contested. Just that one change can be so confusing.
It's actually, and that's a really good point, because the grey hair thing, if you're a warm toned person like me, if you're a bit golder and a bit more warm and kind of browner based, because I've got warm features, if my warm feature of my hair turns cold and grey, that throws everything out. So all of my clothes are going to look really hard. So for my warmer toned people, I will actually say to them, I would really encourage you to try and maintain your natural hair color as much as possible, or run some of it through whilst you're graying.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it actually looks really quite stark and harsh. Whereas my cool toned people, I'm like, you look amazing with it. Just go with it, because they're already luckier that they've got cool components in their features. Their skin, their eye, and their hair are already cool or cold, and then they're going great. And that's those people that you look at and go, oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And and again, it's quite binary. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm never going to color my hair again. I'm going grey, so I'm just going to let it go grey. But actually toning your natural, particularly when you're warm toned and you've had quite dark hair, for example, toning your natural color back in with the grey, so it's not such a shock.
Yeah.
So if you don't want loads and loads of upkeep of your older, your hair color, which might have been more dark or warm, tone it through with the grey whilst you're getting used to it. Because to go from one, again, it's from 0 to 100 right to the other extreme, which is a cold grey, that's really hard.
Yeah.
Because not only does it change all your features, change your clothing, your colorings, everything, it can often change the contrast if you've got dark hair and you're going to light grey. But the connotation of obviously grey is that we feel a bit older as well. So there's lots to wrangle with in one foul swoop. So doing it gently and being nice to yourself about it is a much nicer way to do it, and just do it in nice little phases.
Yeah. And that gives you a chance to get used to that, and to get used to how you wear it, and not only wearing the hair, but everything else that reflects off that. And do you change up the jewelry? Do you, whatever it is. But it actually gives you that chance to make those changes slowly.
Exactly.
Kim, it has been amazing. So as we near the end, I would love.
Already?
I could chat to you all day. I know. What are three, if you could give everyone three takeaways, 3 style tips that we consider in midlife?
Definitely number one is to learn what to dress yourself to flatter your features. Could not be more true in midlife, because we want that inner confidence. That's definitely number one.
Okay, so along with that, we're going to give everybody homework. Ask 3 girlfriends or 3 close friends what their opinion of your best feature is, or not opinion of, but what is your best feature.
Yes, because they won't have just one, I'll tell you. They'll have like, oh, and then look at this, and I love the way you do this, and blah, 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 blah. Number two, don't worry about all the noise. If your friend looks great in a colour and you put that colour up against you and you're like, oh my God, I look dead, it's fine. It's not meant for you. So, and if a celebrity or someone you're looking at on Insta or something, wears something, don't automatically think that's meant for you. Okay. Don't get caught up in the noise. Keep to your true self. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right.
Yeah.
And then number three is definitely have fun with fashion.
Yeah.
Because if you are not having fun with fashion, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So we've got to be playful. We've got to start, will that colour go with that colour? Maybe it will. I'll try it on. Oh, I've never worn this skirt with this top before. Let's try it on.
Yeah.
Just giving yourself a bit of time, because we expect to clothe ourselves in a way that makes us feel really good and run out the door, but we never invest any time in actually learning what actually is meant for us. So we keep consuming, we keep buying all this stuff, but actually we need to stop. We need to really play with currently what's in our wardrobe, what works for us, what doesn't. Maybe take some photos. Right, what's the common denominator between those? Oh, actually, it's all a similar shape of dress. Great, that's my key dress. I'm going to go and buy that in a new colour. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that we can start to play and learn from this, because, before we know it, we might look really quite different in our older years.
Yeah.
And by then it's not too late. That's not what I'm saying, but you're not going to be as playful.
Yeah, exactly.
So the sooner you can start being playful and put the fun back into how you dress, you are going to feel a million times better.
And I feel like it doesn't have to be going out and buying a new wardrobe. I feel like
No,
we can work with our own existing
absolutely.
clothing,
Yep.
but in a slightly different way. So being open-minded about things. And like you were saying, that made me think of being open-minded when you were saying about being playful, because I feel like it's about considering, well, I've never worn those two things together, but try it on. Let's see how we go.
Absolutely. Because we lose being playful.
Yeah.
Often that's how kids being playful, we're being a parent and we're being adult,
Exactly.
and we're more serious. And it's like, actually, just let those shackles glide off.
Yeah.
Let's just start to be playful, because a lot of the time I'm often, putting clothes on beds of clients and I'm like, oh, actually, that and that could work. Should we try it on? Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh. And we put our body in it, and actually it works, because those garments are good for us. They're meant for us. They're part of our personal style.
Yeah.
When they're together, of course it's going to work.
Yeah.
And
we all get into a rut. We've got those trousers and we always wear those trousers with, one or two or three different tops.
Yeah.
And we get very much into that rut, and it's really hard to get out of that. So
it is. So the
that's
other bit of homework I would say is to don't buy anything else. Spend over the next couple of weeks, spend a couple of hours pulling out of your wardrobe what you've already got and start playing. Maybe pull out the new bits that you've bought recently. Could they go together? Maybe not just that top and that bottom together, or that top and that bottom. What about that top with that bottom? Let's try it.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing how many more outfits are, already in your wardrobe that you just haven't discovered yet.
Yeah.
And you've got to do that bit more discovery first before going out and spending more money.
Yeah. And I think also then, by the same token, we can work out the pieces that are really not working.
Absolutely.
And the ones that maybe have really seen better days, or they're just, the shape is wrong. The shape's always been wrong. You never really got around to returning it, but you've only worn it a couple of times. We've all got those in our wardrobe.
Absolutely.
So then it's a case of, clear them out, get rid of those sort of things, because they just clutter up, and it just makes that whole getting dressed in the morning so much more confusing when you've got too many choices.
Absolutely. Because when you have to go through, oh, the button's fallen off, that needs dry cleaning, that doesn't fit, or I've never really liked that, someone bought that for me. That's like 5 pieces that are not right. That's a negative interaction. Take them out.
Yeah.
Give them to charity, swap them with friends. Clothes swapping is awesome. It's great for the environment. You get something new back and you've given your friends something new.
Yeah.
But take all those pieces out. If you don't want to throw them away, you put them out the way in another part of your wardrobe. But that area that you shop in your wardrobe, generally a good couple of rails, we need a positive interaction. You need to feel happy putting it on your body, that it reflects you, your identity, and that you know how to wear it. That's really, really key.
And having one less decision to do in the morning is going to make life a lot easier, knowing that you may have less clothes looking back at you, but it is it's a much easier decision each morning, because I think there's nothing worse. We've all been there. Nothing really feels right. We can't find it. Then we find the shirt, the button's fallen off.
Exactly. We just need to invest that little bit of time in putting that button back on. That's all it is. It's just investing time. We expect our wardrobe to work for us, but we give nothing back to it. We just expect it to show up day after day after day after day, but we give it no love, and we need to give it some love. And then it will give you love again. But it's amazing. I often halve people's wardrobes, but then double their outfits.
Yeah, it's that capsule wardrobe, isn't it? Yeah,
that's what I do day in, day out. Get rid of things that aren't serving them. This is what we need. And look, suddenly it goes together because it's in the right kind of style, the right kind of colours, the right kind of fabrics.
Yeah.
Look, I've got loads more outfits. So don't think that by taking things out of your wardrobe, you're losing things. You're actually gaining.
And also then you're left with things that really work. You're left with the shirts and the tops that actually really do look good on you, and, you know, the skirts and the trousers that actually look great and they fit your style and they fit your shape. And then, you know,
then you can't look bad because everything's great.
Yeah.
Easy.
Exactly. Kim,
please. So lovely to chat.
Oh, it was great. Please let everybody know where they can find you.
I'm at stylesense.net.au, and I'm always on Instagram. So I'm style.sense on Instagram. Love it. Chat with me, posting. I love Instagram.
Check out Kim's Instagram. She always has some great tips on there.
And I've actually got lots of blogs as well with how to put colour together, and loads of kind of interviews and blogs and articles and things on my website. So it's getting actually to be quite a good resource. So go in and have a little look.
Fantastic.
Thank
you so much. It's been wonderful having you on Midlife Unraveled. Thank you so much, Kim.
Lots of love.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, share and subscribe so you can stay updated with more from Midlife Unraveled. To see more Midlife Unraveled, follow us at midlifeunraveled.com or at Midlife Unraveled on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you soon.